day, Bible scholars, and welcome back to the Bible Explained. A couple of announcements. First, I have seen a few comments regarding the suggestion of a new channel for all things related to law, trust, credit, and overall finances. This channel is going to be a one-stop shop for all those topics, including biblical content, because it's all related. We can't help our fellow man without first helping ourselves, and money, credit, and tax exemption from any entity is something everyone needs. Secondly, I have taken a couple questions from you all, and I will answer them right here and right now. If you have any questions, send it directly to Bible Explained 2016 at gmail.com, which is down below in the description. For any questions related to trust setup, no jab or travel injunctions, call me at 689-244-0825. And lastly, I will be going live with a co-host, and we will just talk about any and everything on subjects such as movies, animation, law, comics, the word, etc. So if you tune in, you will have the opportunity to participate live. So I will send out an announcement before we actually go live. So with that being said, let's get into the questions. All right, the first question we have is, what is the second resurrection? What is the second resurrection? This is a very, very good question because scholars are baffled at the term resurrection, because we find the first in Revelations chapter 20, verse 4 through 6. It says, "And I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was committed to them. Then I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for their witness to Yeshua and for the word of God, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or on their hands." King James translation is "in their foreheads" or "in their hands," which is very important. "And they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead did not live again until the 1,000 years were finished." This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he who has part in the first resurrection. Over such the second death has no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Now the second death, which is the lake of fire, this has no death or no power over those who had died as a martyr, those who rejected the worship and acceptance of the beast. Now this is the first resurrection in relation to finalizing this current world system, preparing for the great white throne judgment, but it is not the first resurrection in time itself. We have a resurrection event in the book of Matthew's account, chapter 27, verses 51 through 52, which reads, "Then behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth quaked, and the rocks were split, and the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised." This is where all those who were asleep before the testator, Christ, fulfilled the Old Testament with his death. Those in Abraham's bosom, they were resurrected after Christ's resurrection. This is the very first resurrection account, and they went to the holy city before many, which is on earth. Now, many would say that the Matthew account and the Revelation 20 account are the same resurrection. However, that cannot be, because the Revelation 20 account correlates to the saints who avoided the beast, and they are rewarded with 1,000-year reign with Christ. There is no way for those who were asleep before Christ died. There's no way that they could have the opportunity to reject the beast. So, with that preface, the second resurrection is not written anywhere in the Word. However, we deduce the phrase to those that are resurrected after the martyrs. These are the people who were tormented in Hades and are resurrected, going straight to the great white throne judgment to finally face the Father, whom they've rejected, and now they fully understand God did not send them to Hades. Their own actions and their own rejection is what got them to Hades. And so they are all sent to Gehenna after judgment. Gehenna is the lake of fire with the devil, the beast, the false prophet, the demons which are to be deleted, and the fallen angels, including the 200 watchers who were in chains in Tartarus for creating the Nephilim and teaching alchemy to mankind. Now let's read Revelations 20, verse 11 through 15. Then I saw a great white throne, and him who sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away. And there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, standing before God, and books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged according to their works, by the things which were written in the books. The sea gave up the dead who were in it, and death and Hades delivered up the dead who were in them. And they were judged, each one according to his works. Then death and Hades were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, and anyone not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Very interesting. Now, let's also continue reading from here. Something very interesting in the next chapter, chapter 21, the first 2 verses. This is talking about all things made new. Now, I saw a new heaven and new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, or New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Now this holy city is called New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven, but we just read in Matthew that those who were immediately resurrected after Christ was resurrected, they went to the holy city and appeared to many. This has to be the same holy city where Satan with his Gog and Magog went to surround the saints for a final battle, and Satan and his army were devoured by fire from heaven. This holy city in chapter 20 is different from the holy city in chapter 21 that is called New Jerusalem, coming down from heaven. We have the Old Testament saints who were resurrected immediately after Christ, and this is after Christ snatches the keys of Hades and death. That goes to the holy city on earth. And we also have the New Testament saints from the time Christ said, "This generation shall not pass away until all these things take place." From that time to their undying love for Christ, which is revealed dying as a martyr. So these 2 groups of saints are in the holy city, and after God destroys Satan and his army with fire, New Jerusalem, the holy city, comes down, and it is the size of at least 2 North American continents, which is why Christ will not make a new earth, as in separate or a second, but an earth made new for this new city coming down from heaven. Very good question. So let's take on the next one. What is the mark of the beast? And is it related to the injection mandates? Very good question. First, let's establish the English word mandate. Because English, it's not that old, and it is really based on Latin, which was the most common language around the world. This is why we see it in our constitutions. We see Latin phrases such as habeas corpus or ex post facto, words of that nature. But the phrase fulfill mandate is defined as to carry out or to execute a request. Right here, to carry out or execute a request. The word mandate is not an order. It is a request. And if you were to properly serve an injunction for your property, such as your automobiles, houses, guns, and your body, being the trust property of God the Father, and you serve that injunction to the state attorney general, because he's the one that approves all of the laws, the codes and statutes. If you properly serve it to the state attorney general, you would not have any issues with these federal requests. They really can't make you do anything unless you consent. Otherwise, everyone would be vaccinated or out of a job. Now, if you need the injunction done for you, for airlines, restaurants, hospitals, and road traffic laws, my number is in the description. My team and I would love to help you protect your family. But just as the word mandate means something entirely different based on a Latin law phrase, I'll share another word with you. And that word is recall. The etymology of recall means a calling back, a summons to a return. I was showed this by one of our Bible Explained scholars, Mr. Alonzo. He showed this to me. So when we look at the 2021 recall election in California, it says the recall ballot will ask two questions. Number one, do you want to recall the governor? And number two, if the governor is recalled, who do you want to replace him? If 50% or more vote no, the governor would remain in office. If more than 50% vote yes, the governor would be removed from office and the person with the most votes would replace him. So knowing that the word recall means to summons a return, if you vote yes for recall, thinking to remove, that really means he is summoned to return. If you vote no for no recall, thinking to keep, that really means he leaves office. So this is what you call the dialectic principles, which is a term used to describe a method of philosophical argument that involves some sort of contradictory process between opposing sides. Remember, there are three sides to a coin, not two. There's heads and tails, such as Democrat and Republican. But there's also the edge surface, where the real players are. And so the results of the election was 61.9% in California. They said no recall because Californians selected yes. Please recall him, which means to bring him back, which is ultimately a no against office removal. Now, when it comes to the mark of the beast, I want to dive into this on a much deeper study regarding history in another video. But to answer the question, what is the mark of the beast? Well, there are several marks. There are several marks of the beast. We know that when Christ came, he showed us how to walk in the light and how to live righteous in our public life, private life, and our thought life. It's all about keeping the mind clean. Watch what you watch what you say, and watch what you hear. Everything starts in the heart by what the mind accepts, and consequently the hand shows the action of what the mind agrees to. We've all heard that a meeting of the minds equates to an implied or express agreement. So let's go to Revelations chapter 13, verse 11 through 18. And we're going to read the King James Version here because small word changes such as in to on can change the entire narrative. And it reads, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth," meaning of hell, because it's obviously not from above, from God. "And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live." The sword is a representation of the word of God coming out of the people, the church, their prayers and interceding. But at some point, the church pumped the brakes, and this beast had time to recover. "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Other translations will put that to be 666. Now, in another video, we are going to go over this man, or is it several men? That's something to get into in another video. Now, how do you accept the mark? Because it says all during this time will have it to buy and sell. Let's look at Revelations 20 verse 4 again. "And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahusha, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands." So you have to do all 3. Worship the beast and the image. Now you can only worship that which you practice or give much of your time to. You must also receive his mark in your forehead or in your right hand. Now you can participate in one of the 3 and not even know it. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10, King James Version, it says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." If the beast is directly tied to causing all to not buy or sell, then the beast is related to money, as the love of it is the root of all evil. Commerce and trade is how the end will be determined. The largest payment systems in the world is MasterCard and Visa. MasterCard's former name is Mondex. Mon meaning moneta for money in Latin, and dex for on the right side. Monde means mundus, as in the world, and X as in a mark. X marks the spot. In regards to the word visa in Latin, it means a signature or your mark of having been seen. Now, all markets around the world using Visa or MasterCard is governed by the foreign exchange market, otherwise known as Forex, trading currencies, predicting the value of currencies, which stimulates the usage of credit and cash. The Forex schedule, it operates from 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone on Sunday until 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone on Friday, but never on Saturdays. Why is that? Isn't Saturday the seventh day of the week? Isn't Saturday the Sabbath? Well, according to the Torah, yes, it is. Now we know because of the work of Christ, if we are in him, he is our rest. He is our Sabbath. And therefore we let no one judge us in festival, food, drink, new moons, or Sabbath, as stated in Colossians chapter 2, verse 11 through 16. However, in correlation to the mark, Visa, Mondex, and the Sabbath, the papacy has something to say in regards to that. According to CGI.org on who changed the Sabbath to Sunday, let's go down here. Under the empire-wide Christian persecutions under Nero, this is Emperor Nero, he was one of the Caesars, and these are the rest of them. Sabbath-keeping Christians were hunted down, tortured, and for sport, often used for entertainment in the Colosseums. Constantine made Sunday a civil rest day. Why? Christians were being persecuted like nothing seen before. Christians were undergoing tribulation. You see, tribulation is what the world does to Christians. God's wrath is not appointed to his people. Wrath is appointed to the world. Tribulation is appointed to his people by the world. Very two different distinctions. Let's read here. When Emperor Constantine, a pagan sun worshipper, came to power in AD 313, he legalized Christianity and made the first Sunday-keeping law. His infamous Sunday enforcement law of March 7, AD 321 reads as follows. On the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. And we can reference this from the Codex Justinius. Let's go down. The Sunday law was officially confirmed by the Roman papacy. The Council of Laodicea in AD 364 decreed, Christians shall not Judaize and be idle on Saturday, but shall work on that day. But the Lord's day they shall especially honor, and as being Christians shall, if possible, do no work on that day. If, however, they are found Judaizing, they shall be shut out from Christ. Here's the reference for that. Let's continue reading. Cardinal Gibbons, in Faith of Our Fathers, 92nd ED, page 89, freely admits you may read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and you will not find a single line authorizing the sanctification of Sunday. The scriptures enforce the religious observance of Saturday, a day which we, the Catholic Church, never sanctify. Again, the Catholic Church, by virtue of her divine mission, changed the day from Saturday to Sunday. Protestants do not realize that by observing Sunday, they accept the authority of the spokesperson of the Church, the Pope. Of course, the Catholic Church claims that the change, Saturday Sabbath to Sunday, was her act, and the act is a mark of her ecclesiastical authority in religious things. The act is a mark of her ecclesiastical authority. The Catholic Church claims that the church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. So what do we take away here? We are seeing with our own eyes that the Roman papacy, the Pope, the Catholic organization, is operating in the form of an antichrist. And what everyone needs to know is that the Roman papacy is an antichrist dynasty. It is not just one person we are looking for. It is a group. It is a line, a lineage of men. It is the one that has the power to influence the world spiritually and financially. Now, moving the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday on the opening of the Forex market, which is Sunday, it is a ploy to have majority of the world that practice resting on Sunday acknowledge sun worship, knowingly or unknowingly. And majority of those who practice rest on Sunday, they worship their God at church, giving what? Tithes. Giving tithes on the opening of the Forex market, stimulating their economy week by week. According to recent studies, 31.11% or 2.382 billion of the world are considered Christians, which includes Catholics. And majority of this group are giving to 501c3 religious organizations, which in the eyes of the IRS is a gift tax. And in return, the members receive forms for a credit or write-off at the end of the year. Tithes should never be used for Caesar. And the new throne of Caesar is now the papacy. Tithes should only be collected for the needy, the poor, the widow, the fatherless, or the sick. This is the original intentions of the church, which started in the book of Acts. Churches were never intended to receive permission to exist via 501c3 or even 508c1a, but instead a foreign trust. Foreign to what? To Caesar's system, separate from the world. And so yes, everyone has taken at least one of the marks. There are several marks that has taken place. The biggest is money. The question is, are you letting money become something that which you covet? And trust me, it's going to be easy to do so with the effects of this deceiving pandemic. By removing the cash to Bitcoin and NFTs and all types of electronic money systems, just wait until it is the only form of money unless you have gold and silver. And once they have full control, they will tell you you have until a specific date to spend the electronic money in your account. Otherwise, it will all be forfeited. They are writing the laws as we speak. However, the foreign trust has some exemptions. It has some benefits. Now, the money can easily be coveted and worshipped, making it that much harder to govern the heart. Now, receiving the mark in your forehead is related to the pineal gland as your mind acceptance of this system based on convenience. Everywhere you go, you see the word convenience, especially in the banks. For your convenience, we have this. For your convenience, we have that. According to Rene Descartes of the NCBI on physiology of the pineal gland, it reads, the pineal gland was described as the seat of the soul. It is located in the center of the brain. The main function of the pineal gland is to receive information about the state of the light-dark cycle from the environment and convey this information to produce and secrete the hormone melatonin. So yes, our acceptance and our mind causes the right hand to act on what we agree to. And thus, we use the right hand to insert the Visa or Mondex card into the pay terminals 7 days a week, 24/7, whether at an ATM machine or online. Majority of the world uses their right hand to do this action, even if they are left-handed. Start paying attention when you are at the grocery stores or at the mall. All throughout Scripture, the hand is symbolism for our actions on what we accept in our mind. The right hand to God is very, very important. You see at the right hand of the Father, or you'll see Christ sitting at the seat of the Father on the right hand, and he's not going to be released until his enemies are made his footstool. That is us. That is the work that we have to do. We are the ones to dismantle and make his enemies his footstool, and then he will be released. Now, there are those groups out there called the preterism, who believes that all of these things have already passed in some way, shape, or form. Governments around the world as one have hidden the evidence that all of this has already taken place. The second coming, the war, the tribulation, all of this has taken place. Is that true? That is something we're going to get into, because I will tell you, I do have books. I do have a lot of these books that they are hiding that can kind of create some sort of evidence towards that. But there's still some questions that have to be answered. So with that being said, that's going to be it for episode 1 of Questions and Answers. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I will be looking for more of your questions in my email for the next episode. God bless you all, and I wish health and wealth to you all and your families. See you in the next one.